Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to our live webinar, Women Leading and Learning in a Modern World. My name is Patricia Alvarez. I'm a Program Sales Manager here at SAI Business School, University of Oxford, and I'll be your host for today. We are delighted to have so many of us with you today from all across the world. So please pop your name and where you're dialing from in the chat. Today, as we celebrate International Women's Month, we are taking a moment to spotlight the real impact learning can have on women's leadership. Executive education helps our alumni grow as leaders, handle complexity with confidence, and make better strategic decisions. And today, you'll hear how that journey looks in practice. In just a moment, I'll hand over to our speaker, Leasil Burrow, who will introduce our exceptional alumni panel. After the panel, we'll open the floor to your questions in our Q&A session, and then I'll return at the end with some closing remarks and next steps. But before we begin, just a couple of advice into how to make the most of this webinar. Be ready to participate. We encourage you to put questions in the Q&A function rather than using the chat, as we'll choose some questions from there at the end. Also reflect on your own leadership journey while Leasil and the panel are sharing their ideas. And the most important of them all, apply. Be ready to take at least one practical insight you can start using straight away. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Leasil Burrow. She is our Associate Fellow and Program Director in our Women Transforming Leadership and Orchestrating Major Project Programs, but also contributes widely across our leadership portfolio. Alongside her work at Oxford, Leasil runs her own leadership consultancy, helping senior executives and teams navigate transformation, strengthen their presence, and lead with greater authenticity. With over 20 years of experience across sectors, including telecoms, oil and gas, and the public sector, Leasil brings deep expertise in leadership, influence, and transformational change. Leasil, we are thrilled to have you with us today. So without further ado, all over to you.
Thank you, Patricia, and welcome everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are dialing in. I've got the biggest grin on my face because I can see the names of the people who are joining, and I can see some old friends on there, some familiar faces, and hopefully the rest of you are going to be new friends. So thank you very much for joining us today. And it's going to be my pleasure to help introduce the panel. Amongst these three exceptional women, we seem to be covering a broad spectrum of expertise. We've got engineering, economics, public relations, venture capitalism. We've got a wealth of experience in just these three women. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask them each in turn to introduce themselves, but I'm also going to sneak in our first quick question. So the theme of this year's International Women's Day, and indeed month, is Give to Gain. So I think that is open to interpretation. It's going to be very personal to each purpose. We're all being encouraged to kind of offer up the body language of give to gain, but I'm really interested to know what that means for each of you. So Barbara, welcome back to Oxford. Would you like to tell us who you are, what you do, and what does give to gain mean for you?
Well, thank you very much for the invitation. It's such an honor to be part of this conversation. Hello, everyone. At the other side, my name is Barbara Bonelli. I am from Argentina, Buenos Aires. I work in international finance here in Argentina. Right now, I'm the deputy head of the foreign department at Buenos Aires Bank. And I actually teach political science and international relations at the University of Moron here in Buenos Aires too. So for me, giving to gain is a fundamental principle about leadership. We can grow in isolation. Leadership means is relational. It grows with mentorship, with collaboration, with networking, with supporting the development of other women.
Thank you, Barbara. You are giving us a very rich metaphor about creating conditions where people can grow. So that's a lovely way for us to begin. So Maggie, over to you. Tell us who
Yes,
you are, what you do, and what does give to gain mean for you?
thank you. My name is Maggie Feng. Originally, I was born and bred in Beijing and came to the Netherlands about 26 years ago. I'm a co-owner of the most international business school in the Netherlands. We're private. It's a University of Applied Sciences. It's called Wittenberg. Um, so my journey, I was never meant to be an entrepreneur. And at the end of it, together with a partner, we paid for €1, took over a not working, bankrupted university at the time in 2008. And we had a dream of 100 nationalities, while we only had about 8. So that was the journey that I taught myself to become an entrepreneur, to become a leader. And genuinely, I didn't know that in this part of the world, we had a gender gap, because in my upbringing, we were supposed to be all equal. At the end of it, for me, the many talks about mentorship in terms of a journey for female leaders or the boardroom ready ladies to become the real boardroom members. For me, it's important to for the ones who have already become the boardroom members to actually become sponsors and not only the mentors. And then for the ones who want to become one, who need to seek not only the mentorship mentors, but also looking for your sponsors. The very huge difference between the two. The sponsors are supposed to be the ones who are actually holding doors open for you, not only just give you advice, help you to reflect on yourself, to boost your confidence, give you advice on your skill sets improvement, but actually give you some real tangible leads, proper introducing you to positions, to the key decision makers. So that would be my advice on both sides, to either become a sponsor or seek a proper sponsor within your working environment. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. So that's a really tangible example of how we can give to gain. That's terrific. Thanks, Maggie.
Thank you.
And over to you, Oliver Dunny. Tell us who you are, what you do, and what does give to gain mean for you?
Hi, everyone. My name is Oluwadunni Fanibe. Really excited to be here. I am currently the Accelerator Portfolio Manager for Africa, more specifically the Sub-Saharan African region at Google for Startups. What that means is I work very closely with African founders on the continent to help them scale their businesses. In other ways, I'm also a bridge. I manage our existing portfolio and I serve as a bridge between our portfolio companies as well as our investor network and our ecosystem partners. For me, gift to gain means, or it just shows me that leadership or is not a zero-sum game. What I mean by that is in my work, just in my experience working very closely with founders, working with accelerators on the continent, I've seen how much progress can be made when people share their time, they share their advice, in some cases share their money, their network with others. So give to gain shows me that leadership is more powerful when it is shared.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Patricia, if you don't mind, maybe we just drop the slide down for a sec. That's great. Thank you very much. So all of those different perspectives on what we give to gain really demonstrates that we actually have to put others into the picture in order for us to gain our credentials as a leader. And I guess there's a bit of a danger of that tipping over. So I'm thinking, how easy it is to start to prioritize the needs of others when we just kind of get that momentum going and we're putting other people first. So I want to tie together that theme of giving to gain with the theme of today's webinar, which is about leading and learning. So I'm going to ask you the question of, when it is so easy to prioritize other people's development over our own, what finally convinced you to take that step and come and undertake an exec ed program here at Side Business School? I'm going to start with you, Maggie, because it feels a bit like a busman's holiday for you. Here you are with your own business school, and yet you came over to spend time with us. Tell us a bit about that.
Exactly. Yeah, I was, when we run a university, of course, talent and all of these professors and associate professors, your colleagues, everyone has this learning budget improvement, and you're pushing everyone to learn, to improve, because you are a knowledge intensive organization. And I have been going out probably in a year, joining between 50 and 70 different type of network events, listening to great speakers. However, those were all much more of for me personally, were informal educations or non-formal educations in a way. And those have sort of gained a small sort of element to my improvement myself. However, I never really had maybe the time, the effort, or the focus on myself, because there is a moment that you have to look at, oh, what is me time? Everyone's saying, oh, you have to have a balance. And those little improvements just didn't give you the true sort of in-depth of understanding, and also never tested my learning ability, maybe in a way. So I had, of course, listed all of these big brands and whom I want to add on the top of my LinkedIn profile. And well, luckily Oxford came number one. So I was then looking out, seeing which program would be time-wise suitable. That's practicality also, plays a big role. Time-wise, investment-wise, and all of this had to meet and match with my desire or my requirement. And at the end of it, I chose impact investing. I'm looking forward to my sort of future career to be in as a investor, a private investor. At the same time, I'm one of the executive economic board members for our region. So many municipalities and mayors I work with. Everyone talks about impact. We don't really understand what we are talking about. So that was for me the most important moment. And February, the first week, was brilliant timing. And Sunday you arrive, Friday lunchtime you finish. You have literally day and night working with your colleagues, 40 or so co-students from all over the world. I was thrilled to be tested of my own sort of learning ability, go back to the classroom and listening to the professors as a student instead of, employer and employees, which is really odd. And this is the best gift I have given to me in the past, 20 years probably. So I was very grateful for this opportunity. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Peggy. So you spotted a need, you did your research, you invested the time. I'm going to come and ask Barbara what it was like for you, because I had the joy of having you in my class. So what brought you to Oxford?
According to Maggie, I think the network keeps going and continues, and that thing about arriving on Sunday and start knowing all these incredible ladies from different countries, different cultures. It's different experience, different ages, and we all got maybe the same travels with the same question. We don't know how much in common we got. So that's incredible. And really, when I was accepted into Oxford and I received the email, I thought it was spam. I thought it was spam. Because This is not that bad. It's real life. I really thought that because I I come from Latin America. Um, I'm a common woman. I have a position as a senior leader, yeah, but there are not a lot of real opportunities here in Argentina. So for much people, this opportunity is impossible. So this is so important to transmit and to transmit the people that is listening in the other side because sometimes you think you can't. And I was so insecure about how how kind of leader I want to be, how kind of woman I want to be. And this is about self-development. It's about uh, it's about becoming the owner of my career, of my profession. And of course, it's about the organization. You want to improve your environment. You want to give the best to your team. But to do that, you need to renew yourself, rethink yourself, reskill yourself all the time. I think that's something that never has to end. A woman transforming leadership, it has the perfect platform to do that. And well, I think when you are in your work environment at your company or your organization, I think they see through your role. At Oxford, they see you as a thinker. The curiosity, the curiosity is something we we can't lose. We can't lose that. Oxford give you that thing about question yourself, what I want and what I don't want. And that's something really difficult to discover. What I don't want, what I don't want to be. I want to come back and not talking leadership about authority and control. I want to offer clarity. That's a lot.
So you both tell a very similar story, which is you recognize a need and an opportunity, and you've taken time out to come here. But it's just so easy to go along with the momentum, isn't it? You get busy in your life, you get absorbed in things. And Oluwadunni, I'm going to come to you next, if that's okay, because I look at your job title and the work that you do. And I think every day must be a rich opportunity to learn something. So, what is it that taking time out and coming to do an exec ed program would give you that you wouldn't get in your day-to-day world of work?
And you are correct. You're correct in the sense that yes, I had the right experience. I've worked with various accelerators before joining Google, worked with a number of VC funds on the continent, a number of accelerators as well. So yes, my job gave me the experience, but I think if I had to describe it in one sentence, I'd say that executive education gave me the frameworks for interpreting that experience. It exposed me to case studies, but not just the case studies. I had the opportunity to learn from leaders in the room because I remember the first day on Sunday when we arrived, a couple of us went to the rooftop and we're having drinks, and then people started to introduce themselves, and I'm like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Um, so of course, when you get over the feeling, the imposter syndrome, you get over all of the anxiety, etc. The opportunity to learn from leaders, especially for me, given that I've primarily worked in emerging markets for most of my career, but hearing from people who've worked in more developed markets, who are leaders in their environments, that was definitely something I couldn't have gotten on the job. Executive ed also gave me the language and gave me legitimacy. When I go, or since I did this in 2023, and after that, it's like I go into rooms, I'm holding my head higher because you have the confidence that your thinking has been rigorously tested which is what Maggie, she said something similar. Your thinking has been tested by really, really smart people. I mean, I think back to, I wasn't fortunate enough to have you as one of my professors, Leasil, but it was Tim, and I want Tim, yes, so primarily Tim, but it's a group of incredible people, and it's like, yeah, so it gave me the frameworks, it gave me the legitimacy, it gave me the confidence, it also gave me the language, and language is very important. So I'd say yes, there's no way I could have gotten that from my day to day.
Thank you. And that diversity of background of the participants
Right.
really is a powerful mix. And that feeling you described of the Sunday night when people introduce themselves, I know that feeling all too well. I spent some time this morning rereading the profiles of the 32 women who are coming into my classroom next week. And frankly, when I look at all the impressive things that these women have done, it made me want to go and have a lie down. 'Cause, how am I going to cope with this? So Maggie, you must have this all the time, inviting people into your workplace to come and think and learn. What do you think stepping out and coming and doing a program for yourself has given you beyond what you could have got on the job alone?
For me, it was um, it's really a way to tap into the world that I didn't know existed before, and definitely those people, the colleagues and the fellow students, and just like earlier mentioned, the amount of information and the type of speed that actually in exchange in terms of knowledge, and also trying to everyone has got its own their own personality, and then you have to I have the way that we can quickly try to pinpoint out who is whom, what type of people are they, what sort of backgrounds. I think for me, one of the biggest gain out of the whole experience is not only the day, the week that we have gained as friends, but also we are joining now, or I'm part of the member of a whole wider alumni group that was the previous more than 10 years of impact investing programs alumni. And we are now, I have, my WhatsApp has never been so busy with this group. It was amazing, and the opportunities and people pinpointing out all the possibilities and asking who is going to join conferences, so shall we team up together. And that is for me one of the biggest surprising gain out of it all. That is becoming a member of a club that I just didn't know it was absolutely there. And there's brilliant minds, and they're all over the world. I mean, my next 30 years of travel plan is fixed. Wherever I go,
You're going to go
I
and see everybody.
Exactly. Hong Kong, Sydney, you name it, I'm coming.
Good for you. Those WhatsApp channels, I think the very best trick to learn is how to put your phone on sleep mode. Because when you have an international network, most of the messages seem to come in overnight, don't they?
Yeah,
So
exactly. I know.
I reach for
Yeah.
the phone in the morning and think, oh, 58 messages. Right. Who's doing what?
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah.
So I'm going to bring in a different angle thinking about our learning environment now. And the program that I have the great honor of leading is different to all of the other programs, the other face-to-face programs at the business school, because it's the one and only program that has zero gender diversity, because it's all women in the learning environment. So Barbara, I'm keen to get your views because you were on WTL. How did it help being in a learning environment with other senior women? How did that alter your perspective about your own potential, for example?
Uh, I think I need to, I was, as I said a few minutes ago, like you got some definition about leadership. You come with this definition of how you as to be, and you start knowing and interacting with all these wonderful ladies that are so clever, smart. They speak like 6 languages, and you share all this experience. I remember well, this is just an example. I remember talking to Janice. She's from Malaysia, and had a question when we finished the program about my job. I was, do you think? And I just chat her and ask her, what do you think I should do with this? And I was in the charter going to the office, and at I don't know, I think 2 minutes later, she she called me in a video call, and it was, I think, 1 a.m. over
Wow.
Malaysia. And
Wow.
but she a few minutes ago, a few minutes later, she just called, and that's something so interesting because I think leadership is not anymore. It's in the world, it's so complex and it's going on a lot. So we need to redefine what kind of leader we want to be. So women together, women overthinking, redefining this concept is so essential. And I recognize it's not about control, authority. It's something else. It's about trying to transform. The word it's transform is to change, because I don't want to change something. I want to these ideas became into institutions, into new institutions. This is about structures, authority structures that were made for male or by male. And we are trying so hard to fit in it. So that's why it's so hard. So it's so hard to be in that post, to get that position and to show the world we are capable, but together. But this network that woman transforming leadership generates, it's so powerful. It's not so only analytical. It's a network that continues working. With professor, I remember asking, I have an offer of another bank, and I asked the professor of negotiation what he thinks about it. and, and you always receive an answer, and you got friends from there. It's a lot. So if you really want to change, not change, I will use the word transformation. You want to transform the ideas into institutions, into real institutions. We need to be together. We need to share. We need to really give ourselves, our experience to the other ones, support their development. That's how it works. I mean, that's leadership right now. That's for me leadership. It means support. It means mentorships. It means share experience. It means offers clarity. Nobody wants authority right now. I think it's time to give the others clarity. That's a lot. Responsible. We are showing the world all the time. We are capable. It's not about capability. It's not about capability anymore. We are like trying it's so hard all the time showing we are smart enough, we are clever enough, we're responsible enough, we're decisive. We have to be a lot of things. The world is asking us a lot of things. And that's not how it works, because we have to work together. It's like this thing about the incomplete leader. We always feel we are incomplete, and that's not the way it works. We need to support each other, because maybe I don't have all the answer. We don't have, but maybe my partner has it. That's how it works. It's a
Thank
psych.
you, Barbara. I think that's great. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but just you talking about the incomplete leader, which of course comes from Deborah Ancona's brilliant work, but that's about how do you become complete as a leader? You augment yourself with others around you. And that is the story of generosity. So we should just put a shout out to Janice, who was there for you at 1 in the morning, um, giving her time and her wisdom. She is a superstar. And Manuela's put in the chat channel here, it means high, powerful connections. And there is something, I love that word powerful because it has a rich meaning. It's connections that matter. So I'm actually going to ask a similar question of both Maggie and Oluwadunni about how important was it, to what extent was it important for you to be in a learning environment with other women? So I'll come to you first, Maggie, and then I'll go to Oluwadunni. Were there other women in your program?
Yes, we had other female leaders in my program. They were all brilliant. I mean, I really have pulled all my every brain cells out of mine and trying to cope with this genuinely major leader from all over the place, all over the world. The way that we worked, coped together is really, you can see the good group dynamic because there's a good mixture of female and male colleagues, students all together. But just the clothes, the colors, the dresses, and the chit chat we had. I mean, this is a part of the joy when you are working in the environment. I also invest, for example, in the real estate business. And then if you go into one of these big events, maybe 200 them tall Dutch men, they're roughly 1 meter 87 or 6'3" or something, and they were just giants walking around, and about 10 ladies. And quickly we can sort of find out who is whom. But when you are in very diverse in a learning environment, whether ladies from Hong Kong, Japan, or South America, it's all very dynamic. The words and the sunshine that everyone brings into the room, it just beam yourself and then just make you laugh. And at the same time, that you're so inspired by them, by their journeys. Some were single mothers, some are very fulfilled with lots of children that you couldn't tell. She's sort of as thin as a chopstick. And their story is just next to the learning and the businesses, and you also meet quickly of the person, which I love the most among our female colleagues or leaders or students. And that is something we can make quick connections with one another. That I treasure the most. I feel that I know them more as a person than some of the male colleagues, because they tend to, they don't really intrude about their privacy in a way that you don't straight to go in to say, oh, how many children do you have? Well, among ourselves, it seems like easier or so. I don't know.
I
Yeah.
really love how you talked about that, like bringing the sunshine into the room. I can see your sunshine there, Maggie. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Oliver Denny, what was it like for you? What was the female connection like in your program?
We had women in my program as well, and I think that the technical, again, given that I work at the intersection of capital, so the technical challenges may differ across markets, but leadership challenges for women, pretty much the same. It's on different scales at different levels, but pretty much the same. So it was interesting to see that, I'm from Nigeria. I work primarily in emerging markets, but there's somebody who works in South America, and the leadership, just the social dynamics of being a woman in a female leader in the workplace. So that was interesting, but it was also inspiring, given that there were women even more senior than myself who had been working for longer, who were in the same industry, seeing everything they had been able to accomplish, how they had navigated some of this social challenges, being a woman in the workplace, etc. So it was, I'd say, inspiring, mostly just inspiring. It also gave me the opportunity to, aside Oxford, aside from my time at Oxford, I can't think of a time where we're about 60 in the class. I don't remember the specific stats right now, but I think it was about 60 of us. I'm not sure. That may be wrong. But altogether, because we got this nice picture with all the women at the end, it was about 20 women. And that was nice. It's not often that I get to experience that, being whereas 20 women leaders in the same room. And so, yeah, that was nice. And that was very nice.
Oh, lovely. Thank you. And just you talking about the photo at the end there, it puts me in mind of what we talk about on WTL. On most of our programs, we have a little strapline dress code. So it's smart casual, business suit, or female equivalent. Right. So what do you do when you're in charge of a program exclusively for women? You've got to turn that completely on its head, haven't you? So I've come up with something for our celebration dinner. I talk about the dress code is selfie ready. So wear something that you want to look back on the photos of yourself in 10 years' time and say, I was at my best. And I've had such joy running this program because people have taken that to heart. So on the Thursday night, I can't wait for the doors to open because some people come in national dress, some people are in cocktail gowns, some people are in long gowns, some people are in trousers.
Oh.
People are just themselves because we can. And they come there in a celebratory way. So I've gone down a little rabbit hole. I wasn't intending to talk about the dress code, but I think it's quite exciting to do that. I'm going to go to the chat functions because we've got a question here. How can a leader position themselves as a sponsor to others whilst also finding a sponsor who open doors for them in a way that's healthy and mutually beneficial? So does anybody want to tackle that question?
Well, I think I started off with this sponsoring or this concept. I think number one that if you're a leader yourself, then you will generally be able to see other positions maybe more than your juniors, just simply because of your network and because of the source of your information. And it would be great if one, obviously, it's a mutual side. It's both sides of the effort. You have to know which junior, female or male, and often male junior colleagues tends to express their the willingness to grow, to be better, much stronger, much harder maybe than the some of the female junior colleagues. And so once you're spotted, you know which ones have expressed their willingness to grow, to be better. Then some of the positions might be easy for them to grab. So you only need to hand it over the opportunities. However, some might look a little bit more out of reach, and that means the sponsor also need to become a mentor at the same time. They're not only opening the doors that might be just out of the reach, but you're also trying to pointing out which would be the ways to improve yourself and which skill set that is still in your gap, or which competence you might still want to practice to improve for the juniors. At the same time, I think the leaders, senior leaders, very important to widen up your own network. For example, in the Netherlands, we have a nationally organized, free of charge, of a top female leaders network. And you have to go through a whole selection procedures. Is a boardroom or boardroom ready? And I have, for example, provided several recommendation letters for other female leaders who are at the moment not yet in the boardroom, but however, I have worked with them and I think they are boardroom ready. Their position also demonstrates this level. Then that means for them, I'm opening the doors as a sponsor, but at the same time, I'm in the network. There's so many brilliant, but more than 2,000 of us in it, so that we also having different types of meetings, we have gatherings, and to try to inspire one another. And that time, other female leaders could then potentially open the door for me, become my sponsor, if I express my willingness clearly. It's like non-executive board member roles, which senior position people, normally leaders, would like to do. And that sort of position is something you have to work. Often you gain that sort of position after you reach sort of almost like 50-year of age. You have to have something that you can offer as the boss of the boss, let's say. So that's both sides of the story. Same thing at the end of it. Networking, express yourself, and open doors for others whenever you can.
Wonderful. That is really good advice, Maggie. Thank you. And in my experience, people enjoy being asked. So don't be scared to ask somebody. They might be quite flattered by that. Oluwadunni, what's your perspective on this?
Yeah, I think in my experience, very similar to what Maggie has said, and as well as what you said, I think something that I found that works is just also, starting the relationship off with thinking about what you can do for them versus what they can do for you. So if you start that way, and I have, people, women in the ecosystem, women and men in my ecosystem who are managing partners, have been working for twice as long as I have, way more senior, but then I'm constantly recommending them for things, opportunities that come across my table. And then I'm telling them, oh, I think you should try this. I think you should try that. So just making yourself useful to them as well, that usually helps. And making yourself useful in their, advancing their own goals for them in their career, but also on a personal note, as the relationship develops, remember birthdays, remember the kid's birthday, remember things that are important to them. I find that would really help the relationship.
That's brilliant, thank you. And that puts me in mind of a concept that I really love, but I can't stand the phrase for it. So reverse mentoring. Oh, that phrase drives me crazy, and I don't really know why. Because whenever people come together, they naturally learn from each other. So I think the phrase reverse mentoring is rooted in the idea that the senior person has all of the ideas and they bestow, and you have to somehow really twist yourself to offer it the other way. And I don't believe that's true, but I think in any mentor-mentee relationship, the mentor is getting as much out of it as the mentee. And if they have an open heart and an open mind and want to learn, isn't it wonderful if you can get reciprocity, that the more junior person can offer insights into problems that might look quite different when you're looking at it through different ends of the telescope. So let's find a better phrase for reverse mentoring, but let's do more of that. I think that's great. Let's change gear again, and I want us to go back to thinking about this idea of we are all inherently incomplete, right? We can't do everything. So if we accept that leadership isn't a solo sport, what do you think becomes possible when women in particular choose to come together to learn and grow and lead? So Maggie, what's your thought on that? If leadership isn't a solo sport, what becomes possible when women come together?
I think that many things will become much more possible at the end of it, if philosophically, if we're really looking at it, if all women are together and we work together, we inspire each other, we teach each other, we mentoring, we're supporting each other, when we're collaborating in such a full flesh, probably we wouldn't have a International Women's Day anymore. We're probably just having a society that built for our daughters and granddaughters and nieces to have an equal opportunity. And this equal opportunity, when we work together, we will be the same time naturally encouraging and involving our male colleagues, just like our own brothers and sons, grandchildren, and all. The whole togetherness is something I think, female leaders and just our women ourselves, we have the maturity to be much more inclusive, much more, we see as people as individual. And then we're all different at the same time. But then, the International Women's Day, and it should be every day, should be simply every single day.
It's either
If we
every day or we're banning it. I'm not sure where we're
Well,
landing on
if
that.
every day is the day, then you
Yeah,
actually don't have that day anymore, I'm
yeah.
afraid. It's just a day.
Wonderful. Thank
But I
you.
don't mind having flowers every day, obviously,
Okay.
or chocolates.
Make a mental note of that. Thank you. Um, that's really nice what you've brought forward there, which is about women helping other women. We get ourselves into a I win, we win situation rather than an I win and you lose situation. Um, but that's not exclusively the domain of women only. I think that there is a more of a natural tendency for women to do that. But how women raise their sons is really important for us. Well, I happen to have spotted a name in the attendee list today of somebody I know who's raised two exceptional young men. So it's about creating advocates for that I win, we win, and hopefully regardless of gender. But let's see. So I'm going to ask that same question to you, Oliver Dunning. What do you think? If leadership is not a solo sport, what can happen when women come together?
At the risk of sounding repetitive, there's this popular African proverb by he's a Ghanaian, Dr. James. He said it in the 1920s. So he was a missionary and an educator, so a teacher at the time. And it's lived on. So the proverb goes, if you educate a man, you educate an individual. But if you educate a woman, you educate a nation. And similar to what you said and what Leasil and Maggie have said is when women lead, things are better, honestly. It's not to push an agenda, but it stops being about individual advancement and more about collective infrastructure. So like you said, women are more likely to think of things for others versus the other gender. But I personally think that when women lead, things are more sustainable. It does look different. Things are more inclusive. And there are studies that show that women are better leaders. So yeah, that's how I see it.
Lovely, thank you. And while you've still got the mic, and as we start to draw this to a close, I'm going to ask you a little bit of a cheeky question. So, the International Women's Day theme this year is Give to Gain, as we've explored. If you were in sole charge of naming the theme for next year, what would that theme be?
So I wouldn't say let me talk you through my thinking first.
Go.
Doing the work on the continent, when I think of when you read the reports about the amount of VC funding that has come onto the continent in the last 3, 4, 5 years, it's always less than 5% that goes to women. So billions of dollars being raised. And when you look at it globally as well, look at more developed markets, the story is the same. It never crosses that 10% benchmark, and that's me being generous. I think it's very unfortunate that there are studies that show that women are fantastic leaders, but so little capital is still going to female founders all over the world. Of course, it's worse in Africa than it is in more developed markets, but I do think it's something that we need to be more conscious about addressing. So if I had to, or if I had the privilege of choosing for next year, it would be something along the lines of investing in the future or invest forward. Capital for women. If I had to choose one, I'd say invest forward.
That's superb. Thank you very much. I just so wish that you were in charge of it for next year. So let's see
We'll
what
vote for
happens.
you.
Yeah, we'll vote for you. So I'm going to try and draw together some of the threads that we've talked about today then. So investing in ourselves by noticing that there is benefit of taking time out of your world of work to go to a place where the thinking is important, it's encouraged, you can meet people from all sorts of diverse backgrounds is really critical. We've talked about what does it mean to be a mentor and a sponsor, and I think where we've landed is it's not just good to open doors for others. There is an obligation to do so. When we hold the door open for others, we create a more inclusive world, and we will all reap the benefits of that. We've talked about we don't have to be a superhero, do we? We don't have to be the whole thing for everybody all the time, every day. We can use the power of our great networks to augment ourselves as leaders. And we've certainly decided that when we come together as a group of powerful women leaders, not only are we superbly selfie ready, but we're also here to help each other learn and grow and gain together. So I'd like to thank you, Oliver Dunny. That's been superb. Maggie, fantastic. Barbara, it's been wonderful to see you again. It's been great to have you back here. And thank you for your openness in exploring those topics with me. What a way to spend my lunchtime. It's been great. So, Patricia, back to you.
Thank you so much, Leasil, and the panel. It's been fantastic to have your insights. I don't know if you've seen, we've got a few questions on the Q&A. We haven't got a lot of time, but maybe we're able to answer one of them. I'm happy to choose. So, Leasil, if you want to choose
Yeah, go.
one.
You choose one. Why don't you choose one?
Okay. Well, I can see one from Caroline, the last one that came through to the panel. Have you experienced a gender imbalance in how performance and risk taking are perceived with women?
Oh,
It's
what a
it's
that's a big
yeah,
question.
that's another webinar
Yeah.
altogether.
But that's really good. I don't know the research on it, so I don't want to step into a space where I'm giving you a credible sounding answer that doesn't have a foundation in the research. But I can promise I will take that away. Based on my own experience, I think that the approach to risk does have a gendered element to it, just from my own personal experience. And I think that's about absorbing information, asking loads of questions, doing great careful due diligence, and then stepping into the risk knowingly rather than the ready, fire, aim that I think sometimes we can fall into when pressed for an answer. I'm going to give the opportunity to any of the panel members to offer a quick answer to that exceptionally rich question. Anybody want to have a go?
I can chip in. I think among my experience, I've been working with more than 60 nationalities, and among my students, more than 100 nationalities, and internationally, if you look at the type of we perceive female colleagues, students, and leaders, we perceive the question of risk slightly differently from the male colleagues or components. And I think that we normally, or what I see in my experience, we sort of, just like you mentioned, we take maybe a slightly slower approach, and we do ask questions. We have a broader way to listen. I think the listening skills, some stage, jumping out successfully in assessing the type and the depth of the risks. And then the way that we bring, or the female style mainly, bring the answers to the question, or having the sort of type of solutions, or how we cope with risks, are also based on broader way of research and inquiry. Sometimes we might look a little bit slow, as you mentioned, and not so jumping into some sort of feisty battle, as if the men sometimes just push it and go for it, and then we might just take a slightly slower approach, but at the end of it we win stronger and a much more relaxed way, so we can laugh and smile and having our selfie sticks ready while making the world and melting themselves, and those risks sometimes can be halved, or better take and calculated risk than having a blind taking the risk. And that's my experience always been. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Maggie. And thank you, Carolyn. I've just seen you put in the chat channel. Gosh, what a biggie to end on. So you shouldn't apologize for asking. It's a brilliant question. I was frantically looking through the comments to see where was Caroline, and then realized that I'd completely ignored the Q&A bit. So I'm seeing all of the other questions. I'm going to try and rattle through as many as I can with 3 minutes to go. So, Saroj says, do you think a monthly coffee and lunch gathering for women across the Institute would work, bringing together female leaders? My experience, yes, the more you can bring people together, the better, and the more creative and informal ways you can do that, the better. Keep it lively, keep it interesting. So, I encourage you to do that. What do you think is the role of emotional intelligence in leadership overall? Um, I think it's absolutely enormous. It's the thing that is kind of like the mortar to the bricks, if you like. So the bricks being the thoughts, the emotional intelligence being the mortar that brings all of that together. So the more we can do to hone emotional intelligence, the better. Did you face bias and discrimination while climbing the ladder up? Yes. I shall move on from there. That is probably the topic of a whole different webinar. Aditi's talking about collaboration and peer support, but in reality, women's professional networks can sometimes involve competition and jealousy. There is competition and jealousy everywhere we go, whatever the context. But I'll just refer you back to my previous comment that I have had the experience in my life that the more I open doors for other people to win, the greater my life has been. So occasionally I've opened the door for someone and they've surpassed me. And it's been a really good thing because I think, great for you. On you go. That's brilliant. And the older I get, the more joy I get about watching other people succeed. Um, and then the final one, as we crash to the finish, how can AI help women level up more into more leadership positions? I think we're just kind of scratching the surface of what AI can do for us, but I can tell you that we're trialing a new thing in Women Transforming Leadership next week. We have got our very own AI avatar that we're going to use to practice our negotiation skills, and then we're going to take the class, and then we're going to have another practice and see how that class has transformed our practical abilities. Patricia, I'm hoping I covered most of them.
Yes,
We can
thank you
stop
so
now.
much. Can you all see on screen, Leasil, your details?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
So yeah, feel free to connect with Leasil if you got any more interesting, fiery questions and maybe some ideas for our next webinar
Yeah.
we can explore. That'll be great. And before we close, as I promised, some next steps. All these fantastic women have shaped their journey with one of our executive education programs. And if any of you here would like to explore the same, we'll be very excited to guide you through your journey. We have different portfolios, different themes for you to come on the programs throughout the year. So you can scan the QR code on the screen to check the calendar and the programs that we've got. And if you don't know which program is right for you, we are here to help. You can connect with us on LinkedIn. And also, before we close, something really important, you are still in time to apply for one of our Empower Her awards that's closing on the 15th of March. And they are available, scholarships available this month that we are celebrating International Women's Day for these 3 programs on screen. So please submit your applications. And you can connect with Carrie, who looks after the finance, sustainability and impact portfolio, or myself, who looks after the leadership portfolio, and we'll be able to help you. And of course, the panel will be delighted to connect with you as well. Olubuwani, Maggie, and Barbara, thank you so much for your time today and your incredible insights. It's great to see you when you are here during the program, but then how you are part of the community. So please connect with them on LinkedIn to keep sharing their journey. And of course, thank you to Leasil for another fantastic webinar, and wishing everybody a great rest of the day, and hope you can join us for the next one. And goodbye for now, everybody. Thank you again.
Goodbye. Thank you for
Bye.
joining us. Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Keep in touch.